Hello there. Just wanted to make a video and talk about something that's been brewing that I've been thinking about for some time, and it's also kind of a follow-up to my Suicide Squad review from yesterday. There's been a lot of hoopla recently about Rotten Tomatoes, specifically with the DC movies that have been released. People have been wondering if Rotten Tomatoes are biased against the DC universe. There's even been a petition recently online to close down Rotten Tomatoes entirely because it's biased against the DC universe, because it collects negative reviews, and the reviews have been negative for the DC movies recently. First off, you just have to kind of understand what is Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes doesn't review anything. Rotten Tomatoes is an aggregator site. It collects reviews from all over the world, and it puts them together to form an overall tomato meter score, which is either fresh or rotten. In other words, it's not the actual overall score for the movie. It is whether or not the movie was mostly given positive reviews or mostly negative reviews. It doesn't review a thing. That's not the purpose of the site. The purpose of the site is to collect reviews, and it does so from all over the world. And you can apply to have your reviews as a movie reviewer count towards the Rotten Tomatoes score. Also, the system, the tomato meter, doesn't quite work the way people think it works. People tend to think that the tomato meter is what the actual score for the movie is. That's not what it is. It only counts fresh or rotten reviews. In other words, say that 10 reviewers walk into a screening of Batman vs. Superman. 3 of those reviewers give it an overall positive review. They give it a score that ranges all the way from 6 to 10. Maybe one of them gives it a 6, one of them gives it a 10, one of them gives it an 8. And the other ones, the other 7 reviewers there, give it a negative score. They give it a score ranging from 5 to 0. That means that if those 10 reviews were submitted, that would give the movie 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. In other words, it has an overall negative response. 7 out of 10 gave the movie a negative review. So that's how the tomato meter works. It doesn't actually give you an exact score. It only tells you the percentage of positive versus negative reviews. So you have to actually click on the review section and read the reviews to get a sense of what people actually think of the movie and what they actually gave the movie as a score. So keep that in mind always. Always read up on reviews. Also, there's the question, is there a bias? Is there a conspiracy against DC from reviewers in general, which is collected on Rotten Tomatoes? No, there's not a conspiracy going on. I don't think people are assembling to say, let's tear down DC, let's ruin these movies, let's just critique them to hell. I don't think that's what's happening here, because high tide raises all ships. In other words, DC wants Marvel to be successful. Marvel wants DC to be successful. They want all comic book movies to be good and to make a lot of money, because that's a good thing for them both. If you go into a Marvel movie and say, oh man, this was awesome, what can I see now? Oh, there's a new DC movie, I'll go see that one too. That's kind of how it works. It's not like, wow, if we tear down DC, then Marvel will get all the money. It's not a conspiracy of that sort. But in the same token, I do want to mention something that I've been thinking about, which is that to me, Marvel are kind of like pop music, and DC are kind of like heavy metal music. That's an analogy I've been using for a while, and I'm going to stick with that because I think it's so true. Marvel are owned by Disney. They make lighter, more family-friendly, more jokey superhero movies. They tend to be lighter, more family-oriented. Not to say that they don't make darker movies, they do, but the tone and the vibe is generally jokey, family-friendly, silly, generally speaking. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, and I'm not saying that they can't make serious movies or touch on serious themes, but they are more like pop music. It appeals to a mass audience. It appeals to critics. It appeals to the sort of Disney Pixar sensibility, and whether or not you like that is up to you. You have to make up your own mind what you want to see in a movie. Again, that is not to say that pop music can't be great. Pop music can be fantastic. But generally speaking, heavy metal music is not as popular as pop music. Heavy metal music, DC, tends to be darker, tends to be more intense, tends to speak about deeper, darker, real world subjects, and it's generally speaking not going to be as popular. Like, that's not the end all be all of this, obviously, but I think that that's kind of why we're seeing a trend towards Marvel movies. Marvel movies are generally much better reviewed. Even their worst movies are better reviewed than the best of the DC universe. So I think that's why there's kind of a trend. Just kind of the style and the tone and what Marvel are doing is more, I don't want to say dumbed down, but it appeals more to a mass audience. It has that family-friendly vibe, and I think people just kind of eat that up. Like pop music, you know? Again, that is not to say that Marvel can't make darker movies, and it's not to say that DC can't make movies that are a little lighter, more jokey, but that's just kind of the trend that I've been seeing recently, and I think that people kind of get stuck in that, and they tend to think of Marvel as light, family-friendly, go-to, wonderful, perfect, immaculate Pixar things, which I completely disagree with, and tend to think of DC as the black sheep, kind of like the darker, oh, it's dour and it's no good and it has no value and it's bad, and you know. Also, there's been a lot of critique over Zack Snyder. He's kind of the Michael Bay of the DC Cinematic Universe because he's a visual director. He favors a visual style. He's a commercial director and things of that nature. But what I think people have been overlooking with Batman vs Superman in particular is the script, which is both David S. Goyer and Chris Terrio, and they don't really mesh too well together. But I can make a whole video about that. That's not why I'm here. That's not what I'm here to talk about. But that's essentially my opinion on this whole situation. My opinion is that you should always go in and see the movies for yourself. Make up your own mind, make up your own opinion, and just review it based on how you feel. Do I like this movie? Does it feel good to watch? Is it entertaining? Did I like this experience? Did I not like this experience? Be true to yourself. Don't let friends tell you how to feel. Don't let reviewers tell you how to feel. Don't let trailers tell you how to feel. You have to trust your own instinct and be honest with yourself. Like I said, be true to yourself and keep in mind that a movie doesn't need to get a 10 to be well liked. Zero is a movie you loathe. You hate that movie. Probably with every fiber of your being, you hate everything about it. A 2 is a very bad movie. Very, very bad movie. A 4 is a weak movie. A movie that has a few positive things about it but doesn't work. A 5, that's the divider. That's a movie it has good things and it has bad things. Overall, it might not totally work, but you can still see a lot of positive things about it. A 6 is a movie that is a little bit skewed to the positive. Like, there were a couple of pretty good things in there, but it wasn't amazing. 7 is a good movie. A 7 is a good movie. If you give a movie a 7, that's a good one. This is a good movie. Overall, I had a good time with this movie. An 8 is a very good movie. This was very good. I had a really great time. This was a lot of what I wanted out of the movie. A 9 is a fantastic movie. It's amazing. Just, And a 10 is a masterpiece. A 10 is a full, immaculate, perfect score. That's a movie that you're gonna love for the rest of your life and tout as one of the best movie-going experiences you've ever had. So just keep that in mind, because I see a lot of people who are like, why are you hating on the movie? You only gave it a 7. And it's like, are you crazy? A 7 is a great score. A 7 is a wonderful score. So please, please keep that in mind as well, because I see a lot of people that are like, why did you hate on a movie? You didn't give it a 10. The whole mentality today is everybody's a winner and everything gets a 10, and it's so wrong. It's so goddamn wrong, because life doesn't work like that. I gave Suicide Squad a 10 because I fucking loved that movie. Loved it. But I don't hand out a 10 every now and again. I just don't throw out a 10 like, oh, good movie, a 10. A good movie, a 10. This gets a 10. You get a 10 like Oprah. Or something. So please just keep that in mind as well. I'm actually gonna up my scale now. I'm gonna give it a percentage. I'm gonna rank it all the way from 0 to 100%, because I want to give a very specific, I want there to be a really, really deep layered possibility in how I feel about a movie. I want to be able to pinpoint exactly where do I put this on a scale. So, but that's just me. Just do what you feel like doing. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope I've touched on a few things that you might have been concerned about or thinking about. This is just, again, my opinion on this whole hoopla, what I think about it. I just wanted to make this follow-up to talk about that. Hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you again very soon. Take care. Bye.